welcome everybody to the Chin Wagging with Sergio and Brandon. My name's Brandon.
And my name is Sergio. Welcome to episode 7. We're fucking doing it, baby. Woo!
Nice.
We are doing it now. We are doing it live, and we are here with our lovely, lovely guest, Dulce Gonzalez. Please, we can't do you the justice, Dulce. Introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm Dulce Gonzalez Beltran, actually. Dulce Gonzalez Beltran.
Yes.
I'm currently at CU right now, studying mechanical engineering with a minor in biomedical engineering. I don't know what else to say. We used to just went way back with these guys. All
Hell
the way back
yeah.
to middle school.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, well, awesome. Yeah, well, thank you for coming on again, Dulce. Thank you so much for joining us. We talked to a couple of friends about it, and they were like, no way you're going to get Dulce. Like, Dulce? And
I myself
For real?
was surprised. Actually.
yeah, and I was like, no, she's got to be on. Like, we have to have her on, right? But just to recap real quick, we're here to talk to some old friends from high school, middle school, whatever it might be, catch up a little bit, see what people have been up to for all this time. So, I guess we should start off a little bit soft here. So, first off, Dulce, let's catch up with you. Let's see what you've been up to. We want to know what you've been doing. You did say that right now you are at, which college again, please?
CU Boulder.
CU Boulder. Okay, so, and then you're majoring in?
Mechanical engineering with a minor in biomedical engineering.
Whew! That sounds pretty difficult, but that sounds awesome. That sounds really, really cool. But well, tell us. So, what were you doing right after high school when you graduated? What were you up to?
Right after high school or after graduation, I was literally planning and catching up on like what I needed to do for college. So I did a lot of summer programs to prepare me. So I did like an engineering program called the Summer Bridge here at CU for engineers, and so we stayed on campus for like 2 weeks. Before that one, I did another program called Trio, and that's also it's another program to help underrepresented students get familiar with the campus and the system, and pretty much prepare them for success for college. Because as first generation students, you never know what you're getting into.
Of course.
Your parents never went through that, so they're helping you prepare. How should you start off your first year? Because it's very, very different from high school. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you feel the programs really helped you?
I felt like they helped me get to know people and get familiar with the campus a lot earlier than other students would.
It's kind of like internal networking, you might say.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like that.
So by the time I got to campus, it was just kind of like easy breezy. I knew where all the buildings were at. I knew where the hot spots were to go eat. I was familiar with like how should I start off my year kind of thing. And then I obviously knew people before I got here, so it wasn't very hard to transition.
So it wasn't as as intimidating as a new college experience might be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. Well, how long have you been in CU Boulder now? So this is what, your second year?
Yeah, it's my second year.
Okay.
I've actually been living in Boulder for 2 years now.
2 years now. Nice.
Yeah.
And you're living on campus or off campus?
On campus, yeah.
On campus. Okay, that's pretty cool. And honestly, that is probably really, really exciting, but I can imagine, with any kind of engineering degree, it's probably really rigorous in education and stuff like that. So, like, how has that been for you? Like, all the studying and stuff like that, all the work?
It's hard. It's really, really hard. But, you learn to adapt to all this stuff here. Obviously, my first year was a little difficult because I was like, oh, God, I've never had to study at all in high school. It's like, I literally would do my homework passing period during lunchtime, like, and if you did that here, you would most likely turn it in and get a big fat 0. So, it was hard to adapt to like doing things early on. But other than that,
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah, it is. I can imagine. Yeah, it can also get pretty stressful sometimes, but it's awesome that you persevered through all that stuff. That's great. Well, how about things like scholarships and stuff like that. How has that been helping out for you? Like the cost of it and everything.
The cost of school
Mhm.
and all that. Yeah. Um, well, I actually have to pay around, I'd have to say, like $28,000 every year, just because I'm living on campus. And
Uh-huh.
Mm.
yeah, housing and dining is very, very expensive, and that's why it's so expensive. But thankfully, and bless everything that my parents have told me in high school, working hard, applying to all their scholarships, even though they didn't understand a lick of what academics was like here. They were like, apply, 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 and I
Yeah.
did. And so I got as many scholarships as I could. I didn't get Daniel's Fund. I didn't get all those full ride fancy ones, but I
Uh-huh.
did get small ones that accumulated and actually pays for everything now. So I don't have to pay anything.
Hell
The only
yeah.
catch is,
That is
yeah, it's
amazing.
great. It's nice.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome, Dulce. That's actually amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I always hear like these horror stories about like some students who just the debt is just crippling. It's just
Oh,
takes
yeah.
so
No.
long.
And it's still very nerve-wracking when you have to look into, the only catches with all that money is that you have to keep your grades up. And so since the courses here are so rigorous, it's like you see a C and you're like, holy fuck, this cannot be happening because I need to keep a certain GPA in order to be able to keep all those scholarships.
Mhm.
So that is still something that like carries you on your back, because you don't want to be that person that's like, I have so much debt. Nothing wrong with that, but when you have all these scholarships, you're like, I had that opportunity and I fucked up, and you don't
Yeah.
want to be that kid.
Yeah, of
You know?
course. It is definitely a really harrowing experience, I'd say. It's like I don't know, what is the is this only really a problem in the United States? Do you see this happening in any other country? Because I hear how like, universities and stuff like that and, tuition and whatever, the system is a little bit more forgiving, I hear, like in Europe and stuff like that. You ever hear that, Dulce?
I definitely hear that,
Mm.
and sometimes I hear that it's free. And I'm
Oh!
like, that's
Yes.
amazing. That's amazing. I've never heard of that. Maybe they might
Mhm.
be lying to me. I didn't really look into it, but
Yeah, I
but
haven't
shit,
looked into
sign me up if that's the case.
it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I think it's like I don't know, kind of to show like the experience of college in the United States is just ugh, can be pretty stressful. But
Mhm.
happy to know that you're doing pretty well on it. You're going through it, Dulce. When will you be graduating then?
Well, I'm actually doing a 5-year track
5 year, okay.
because, yeah, because of the engineering program that we have here, there's a reason why I'm here on campus for 2 years instead of the traditional one, and
Mhm.
that's because through the Gold Shirt program that they offer here at CU, um, they require you to stay on campus for 2 years. And the first semester, the first year, you end up taking all these like pretty much like prereq classes in order to get to those college classes.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like they don't add up to your major, and so you kind of get held back. Well, in a sense, held
Oh.
back half a semester, but it actually really helps you because the program pays for 5 years. So it's like,
Oh.
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess that makes
Um,
sense.
well, not full 5 years, but they give you a scholarship for 5 years. So as long as you can keep getting money, that's all that matters.
Hell yeah, that really is all that matters. Well, I mean, of course, you definitely have the college experience down, Dulce, but what about like day-to-day things, right? Like, do you have a job that helps you like, pay for food and stuff like that once in a while?
Do you mean like I have a hobby or a life? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I do have a
Hell
job.
yeah.
I have 3 jobs actually.
Three
You have
Um,
3 jobs?
jobs.
I
Whoa.
do, yeah.
Okay.
So
What do you
there's
do?
actually, so for the Gold Trip program that I was mentioning, we get a mentor out of it. Your first year, you have a mentor. Your second year, you can apply to be a mentor for the first years. So the first years and second years, you live together. So it
Uh-huh.
makes sense why you would have a second year mentor. They've already gone through it. So I'm a mentor. I check in with the students. I, help them with their problems if they have any, or if they have any questions about anything. I can, guide them in a certain direction. I also do planning of events that we have here. So like we did a barbecue event earlier this week. That was pretty cool. We also did like at the beginning of the year. how do you manage your time? A distress fest, taking care of yourself, even though you're stressing over academics. That's the number one thing you should be looking at as well.
Huh.
So many students forget about that. So we did that. So it's just a lot of event planning and checking in with the students. That's one of them.
Oh.
And then my second one is giving tours to underrepresented students in high schools and middle schools, and just showing them, like, giving a tour around campus, and then afterwards there's usually a student panel where you talk to them and tell them what's college like, how do you get here, what is it like being a student of color in a predominantly white campus, and really any questions that they have. I encourage them to ask anything and everything, and a lot of the questions I get are like parties and um, drugs and stuff like that on
Uh,
campus. And obviously, you got to be real with them. That shit happens around here. Sorry, I
yeah.
don't know if this is. Can I be cussing on here?
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's the beauty,
Absolutely.
dude.
Oh,
You can
okay.
be blunt this year.
It's because at work, like, you have to be professional. This is middle schoolers and high schoolers, and sometimes they're like, oh, she cussed. Oh my god. So you never know.
Yeah, yeah, we feel it. So you have to definitely hold up an image of yourself, right?
Definitely.
And
And then
all
my
of
third job.
yeah,
Oh,
go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead. No, 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 go ahead.
Okay, one more. My third job is actually a research project that I'm doing with a professor here on campus, Dr. Milford. Um, and it's a way to find inclusive and diversity in the College of Engineering with people of color and women. Obviously, because you don't see very many women and people of color in STEM, especially in engineering, because that's kind of it's discouraging when it's predominantly white and male.
Mm.
So we're doing a research project, and I'm just being supervised by this professor to find a way to make it a lot more inclusive and diverse for people to feel comfortable and actually come and do it. Because so many people are dropping out of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering because they don't feel welcome. They don't feel like they should be there. So
Oh,
yeah, that's my third job.
holy crap! And all of these jobs pay you.
Yeah,
Oh
they
wow,
pay me pretty well, pretty good.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's actually pretty cool. Do you sink that money into
Well,
the
it's all the
student
parties
though?
and drugs,
Or
right?
oh, you know what? You're right. I totally forgot. No, that's that's the beauty of it, dude. Hell yeah. Well, shout out to Dr. Milford, my man.
I know. Woman.
Oh wait, woman. Yeah,
I should
Miss
not-
Mrs.
but I should have
Milford.
said her first name.
Well, that's pretty cool, though. Say, we really like to hear that. You have, pretty. Everything is pretty stable in college and everything. That's pretty cool. Is there anyone that you interact with still at college that you used to a lot in high school?
Yeah, well, kind of, not really. Well, okay, you remember Angel Lara, right?
Yeah, yeah, we remember Angel, of
Yeah, I get to hang out
course.
with him every once in a while.
Okay.
He's all the way in Denver, but we always find time to, like, he drives up here most of the time. I still can't drive. I don't have a license.
No way!
I'm almost 20 and I don't have a license.
My God.
So he
Well,
drives up here.
yeah.
I know, it's horrible. But the thing is, and here's the perk of it. This is a very friendly pedestrian town. You see people walking everywhere, biking everywhere. It's hard to be a person in a car driving around here because it's just so many people are walking. So it's just
Uh-huh.
everything's walking distance.
Yeah,
Everything's close.
that's pretty cool. Do you usually
So
walk around campus or do you use a bike or?
I walk or I skate sometimes.
You wait, Dulce. No way you skate. What?
I do skate, yes.
That's
I
pretty
don't know how to do
cool.
like cool tricks and flips and stuff, but I
It
can
gets
get
you there
myself
and
there.
back.
Point A to
That's
point B, that's what matters.
uh-huh. Yeah. Whew. Dulce was scared. That's crazy. Have you always known how to skate or is this like something
No,
new?
this is new.
Oh, who
Something
taught
new.
you? Or how'd you learn?
I just told my older brother that I really wanted a skateboard, and so he got me a skateboard, and it's really cool. I got to pick out the board and see it get made or put together and everything, and then ever since then, and that was actually during this summer that passed. He got me that skateboard, and so when I was working on campus over the summer, I was just skating everywhere, and so I just kind of got the hang of it.
Ooh, that sounds awesome. Yo!
Yeah.
Oh, which older brother?
The oldest, Jesus.
Mm. That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool of him. Nice. So now you're skating around and chilling and everything. That's pretty cool. They'll say, well,
Yeah, of course.
one thing I did want to bring up about college, and this is a little bit interesting. Some people who follow you on Twitter might recognize this. But a couple weeks ago, I think you tweeted something about a change in the Board of Regents for your school.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
mentioned something about questioning their values and stuff like that. So can you tell us a little bit more about like what was that about?
Yeah. So actually, CU is getting a new representative or person, um, in our board because our president is actually leaving. I believe that's who he is. And let me go back to that tweet actually,
Yeah.
so I can, because when it's something that I don't necessarily care too much about, I tend to forget. And this is something I really like. I want to say because this man that they're nominating and what's the word, taking into consideration to
Mhm.
take the part of representing all the students and being the head of oh, here it is. Yeah. So Mark Kennedy is actually going to be our possibly our new president of the university.
Uh-huh.
Not just this university, but all sister universities. And I hope that's true. You might want to check fax me, or whatever that word is. You might
Uh-huh.
want to check this. But
Uh-huh.
the point is this man, all the universities are known for, its diversity or trying to
Mhm.
create its diversity. And within that diversity, you have to keep in mind, people who are part of the LGBTQ community, those who are of color, what other, people who care for their rights of being able to choose abortion or not abortion. And apparently, this man voted against a few of the things that students do not agree with. Um,
Oh.
and that's the thing. People, I think, shouldn't be too focused on this is what he believes in, this is what he votes for, but you should care more for is he going, despite what he believes in and what he, you know, chooses, is he going to care for the whole entire community itself? Because he must know that, not everyone is going to agree with his beliefs and his morals and backgrounds and values.
Mhm.
Right.
But
He's an
if he's taking this job, if he's taking this job in order to take care of the whole entire student body and the system that we are in, is he going to care for all of our students? Because does he understand our values?
Mhm.
Um, and so that's why I said question the board's values. Do they
Uh-huh.
correlate with ours? And they must, because that's what all of the universities, from my understanding and my perspective, are trying to create more diversity and more inclusive communities. Um,
Uh-huh. So right
so
now it's definitely, as I hear, it's definitely an environment um mostly of white individuals,
hmm
right? And
yeah.
the minority is trying to fight. Okay. Honestly, yeah, that's pretty crazy. What about the current president then? How does he stand up?
Well, Sergio,
Mhm.
I'm sad to say that I'm not aware.
Hell yeah. That's
After
what
a
I like
while,
to hear.
you become so busy with like your own things, you forget to,
Mhm. Yeah.
go back and check like the community that you're in and the people who are, taking care of that, um, who they are and what they stand for,
Yeah. No, yeah, that
and
happens. That
how
happens,
they're
yeah.
helping the university. But so far, I feel like the school has been doing well. So whoever the guy is up there now, or person up there now, I'm assuming they're doing well. Uh,
We'll say they're doing well. We'll say we'll give them a little
yeah,
pass for now. That's cool. That's cool.
yeah.
Well, in that case, are you right now a leader of that kind of idea, that kind of movement or whatever they'll say, or do you want to be up there as a leader, or what do you think?
Quite honestly, I think I would like to be, but
Mhm.
there's just so many things that I want to do. Ah, Eileen said I miss you. I miss you too, Eileen. Sorry, that was a little distracting.
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead. Hmm.
Um, like I want to be a part of that, and in a way I am right now, but just for a certain subsection of it, and that's for the University of, or for the College of Engineering. Um,
Mhm.
specifically the mechanical engineering department, since that's what I'm majoring in. And I don't necessarily see too many women in my field doing anything, simply because they feel like, they don't belong there.
Mhm.
And so when someone starts to make other people feel, or a certain group starts to make others feel like they don't belong there, then that's a problem to me.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe one day I'd like to, go higher up and,
Mhm. But
have
right
this
now,
impact.
right now
Yeah,
we're focusing a little bit on
we're
ourselves,
starting
right?
little.
Mhm. Of course.
Yeah,
That's
we're
awesome.
starting little.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
respect that, Dulce. That's a very, very good passion to have in your college. That's awesome. Glad to hear that everything's going pretty well. Maybe, a bit smoothly, some might say, in your college experience. Do you have anything else to add, Brandon?
Um, I don't have too much myself, Dulce, but if you don't mind, I did want to talk to you about another little controversy going on.
Ooh.
The Notre Dame building, uh, uh, as you know, recently burned down. There's a
Hmm.
little controversy around how quickly funding was made for,
To
to
rebuild.
rebuild it. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Quite honestly, it made me very, very upset that, and yes, I believe, this building has very historical backgrounds, I guess some sentimental, I don't know what people see in it. Quite honestly, like, if you and I'm sorry whoever's listening, or actually no, I'm not sorry.
Woo!
This is
Holding
something
up to your
super,
guns.
super official. This is a building. This is a physical object. And it's the same thing kind of like in relationships with people, like you're giving teddy bears and flowers and stuff like that. But what's the deeper meaning in it, I guess I can see why they want to rebuild it. But the fact that the amount of money they're giving could be used for something else, like picking up the trash in our oceans,
Right.
like
Mhm.
helping other countries, pushing our future forward, they have the power to do that. And it's sad that, money is the reason why we can't do any of that. Money is a problem. But
Mhm.
they spent money on a building that will probably burn down again or fall apart again.
Unlucky.
And it's like, oh no, my little toy broke. Well, it's time to get a new one. Whereas we can be fixing something that is actually impacting our health and our future. So it makes me a little upset. It makes me very, very upset. Kudos to those people who have that money to be able to put that in there. But I just hope one day they see, that money can go somewhere even more important and have a bigger impact. Um, it made me really mad.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely can agree with that sentiment. I also saw like online it's just a lot of outrage about the funding of it and like, fixing up the chapel and everything, but like I kind of was thinking about it and I got to thinking that maybe I personally think that it might be because it wasn't as sad as some of the tragedies that we see today, right? Like oceans
Hmm.
being so dirty, right? People dying
Hmm.
in like civil wars around every other country, right? School shootings, whatever it might be, right? Those are a little
Hmm.
bit sadder and well, actually I'd say much much sadder, right? And a lot more
Hmm.
disappointing to see, um and in those cases it's a little bit hard to put your attention on that because obviously you don't want to feel sad. Nobody really wants to feel sad, right? They want to feel
Right.
happy. And I guess rebuilding the chapel makes them feel a lot happier than giving money to a very, very, very unfortunate situation. So I think
Yeah.
I think that's why so much money is being put into the chapel. I can maybe kind of understand why, but I definitely agree that it's a bit questionable. It's a
Absolutely.
bit weird with all the money
Yeah.
that's being
Do you
put
guys
in.
know why it burnt down or got burnt?
Um,
Mm,
I believe it was just a accident during reconstruction efforts, right?
yeah, something like that. Electrical
Hmm.
fire or whatever maybe. That's
All
what
right.
happened.
Well, I give it $10 that it'll happen again.
Ten, I, honestly,
Yeah,
we
I'm
also
well. That's the way the cookie crumbles, you know. It is unfortunate, but well, um, that is a pretty good take, honestly. So you side with most of the people in saying it's a bad thing that we're funding this type of thing, right?
Yeah,
Would
well,
you?
it's like it's not a bad thing. It's just a terrible idea.
You
Yeah.
have to ask who's really being affected in the situation, you know? Who's honestly hurt about the building being burned out?
In that sense, Dulce, then, what do you? How do you side with religion? Are you a religious person, or what do you think? What do you say?
I plead the fifth.
What?
I'm not as religious as I used to be.
Uh-huh.
Simply because I don't know. For me, it's not the biggest important thing to me.
Mhm.
I respect other people's religions and like what they believe in.
Mm.
So most times I just, I don't know. I don't know what I believe in still, but I would say I'm not very religious at all.
It's not your concern right now, right? It's not something that you think about too
Yeah.
much. Yeah. In that case, then I guess that's also another thing, right? Like, the chapel is basically a very, very important religious building, right? So
Hmm.
I guess that's another thing that might add to people's concern
The
over it
reason
and
why
stuff like that.
they're.
Yeah, reason why they're paying for it and everything, and I guess is just religion, and it's just, I don't know.
And that's
It's
the thing, not to bash on other people's religion, but it's more of, not a object or a physical place that go and do your praying. You can do your praying in your room. Your
mhm,
belief is within you and within your values and morals,
mhm,
you know? And so that's why it's so upsetting. I understand, why they want to rebuild, but it's upsetting to see, that many people think, the big church is the the reason why they, pray, the reason why they
yeah,
have a religion. Um, when it shouldn't be the main thing. It should be because you believe in God, you believe in an upper higher being
mhm,
or spirit,
mhm.
and that's within you. Not a physical thing.
It really always is, yeah. It always really could be, more personal, but people just want something to connect to that can connect to what they believe in, I guess.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a celebrity. It's like
like a club.
or like a club, a celebrity, something like something they idolize, and I guess that's what the
Hmm.
chapel was, but
It's the power of symbolism.
that is the
You
power of
can look
symbolism.
at that and believe that God's out there watching over you.
Yeah,
The
dude.
non-triangulating.
Oh, God forbid. This
Because
chapel.
God has nothing better to do but watch over that building.
That's
Come
what
on now.
I'm saying. Oh. Oh god. Well, on that note, there was another, a lot more unfortunate tragedy, which were the Sri Lanka bombings. So I'm not too filled in on it, but could you talk to us about it, Brandon? Fill us in,
Well,
or fill me in,
I
I guess.
believe so. The bombings were committed at multiple churches and hotels, and I believe it injured about 500 people, and I think there's 300 plus dead or something from it. Um,
Holy shit.
Oh, was
yeah,
that from the Easter weekend?
yeah, it happened
Oh
Easter.
yes, I heard about that.
Mm,
Yeah.
Huh. And what were the motives? Who did it?
yeah.
Do we know yet?
I don't believe the motives are too clear. I'm not too caught up on it.
Mm-hmm.
What I do
I
know
feel
about
like
the
they did it for
situation.
shits and giggles.
Shit's in
Honestly,
good. It's just an Easter Sunday prank, dude. Jesus. But, well, I
well,
I did hear that it might have been because of Middle Eastern terrorists, no? Isn't that what it might be?
yeah, someone in the chat is saying it was ISIS claim.
ISIS claim. Yeah, I was hearing about that. Yeah. Apparently just it being, terrorist related and stuff like that. And holy crap. What is with religion being assaulted so much recently. Like, holy shit. Oh my god.
We have been
Wow.
doing a lot of religion matching on this
Yeah.
show.
Oh my god. What do you think about that, Dulce? Like, just so much against religion recently. What do you think about that?
Oh, Sergio, there's a lot to think about that.
I agree, I agree.
And quite, I know this is probably something that's like I shouldn't say, but for
No,
me,
no,
it's
no,
kind of
go
like
ahead.
I'm minding my own business
Mm,
because
Mm.
in a world like this, there's so little a person like me can do. Simply because or even think in because I quite honestly, and that's one thing I want to mention really quick, but
mhm.
our generation is not as informed as we should be.
Really?
We tend to stay in our phones and like read other people's stuff, but believe, but like look at it this way: so much of the stuff that we see is programmed because of what we like to see. So many people are like memes, 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 and that's how we get our news, which is good and bad in a way
Uh-huh.
because it gets us the information, but it doesn't get us enough information to understand the situation. So to your question, I don't know what to think.
Mm.
I really don't.
Yeah, Rigo and Jason did touch up on that a little bit as well last episode. They were talking about how, yeah, like, our impact is very small. Like, I
Like,
guess
yeah,
we can think all we want, but I guess in the end, what is there to do, right? So.
it's like, yeah, like what can you do about it? And
Mhm.
some people are going out there and doing something about it. Quite honestly, I have no clue.
Mhm.
Are the organizations that are going around, people joining or creating really helping? Who knows? I don't know. I personally don't know. And maybe they are having an impact, but I'm clearly am not seeing that impact at all.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
shit is still happening in the world.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate to think that, so much attention is being brought to these things, and like we were kind of talking about this last week as well, but like we just we put attention on these events. We look at these things, we hear about all these awful things, and then the question stand is it because of our modern generation of the informational technology and stuff like that? Is that the reason why we're hearing about all these tragedies now? Or is it or has it always been that way, or is it happening now? Is it just a problem now? Is it more modern? So I don't know. It's really really interesting, but I don't know. Social media.
It's
Yeah.
funny you bring up social media actually because the president, I believe, of Sri Lanka was getting a lot of shit because he decided to block all social media so that people weren't spreading false information about the attacks.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Wow.
Oh.
yeah, it's a double-edged sword,
I guess so.
Both
Yeah.
sides
I guess.
Well, what do you think about social media, Dulce? Do you think it's a good thing to have so much information nowadays?
It is a good thing to have a lot of information. It's an easier access for people to like, go in and look things up, but it's also really easy to manipulate information and give people the wrong idea. Uh, but obviously, you have to be smart where you look. You have to be smart on like understanding who the source is, so that way like, am I getting the far left side of this? Am I getting the far right side of this? Are they digging deep enough, or are they only giving me the surface level? Um, So it's a good thing, but it's also bad because so many people are just so caught up in it. They forget to live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So much shit's going on in the world, but look up. See who's
Yeah.
next to you. Have a conversation with that person, because in the end, you might be want to fixing things all the way in the other side of like the world, but don't forget you got to live your life too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like a lot of people are forgetting to do nowadays.
Yeah, it definitely is a thing. Yeah, like people are definitely becoming more and more attached and focused on technology and stuff like that. I I think it is also a good thing, but it also means that more ignorant people, dumb people, uneducated people get access to it.
right?
So
So with the internet, you can find videos for your flat Earth
yeah.
ideas.
Like Facebook and stuff like that? Cause like,
You?
I want to
Yeah.
say stupid ideas have always been out there.
yeah,
Honestly.
okay, I
Yeah.
want to think
I
that
think
too.
You are just at a time where you can really scream out your stupid ideas and other people listen to it.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. Oh man, it is pretty crazy, but you know what? Guess it's here to stay. Won't be changing anytime soon. But we might go back to that in a little bit. But this is something that very much interests me, Dulce. So, um, this is the next topic that I want to talk about. So it might be a little bit late, but sometime last year, I think it was like at the end of last year, you went to Mexico. You went to go
I
visit
did.
Mexico, right? Um,
Mhm.
I have not been there in
Definitely.
I've in
That's
years.
that's
I've
your
not
fault.
been there
Years.
years. I can't go there at all. I can't ever go
Are you?
back.
Oh. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm an illegal immigrant. If I try to leave, then I won't be able to come back. So,
No,
um,
no, get it correct. You're undocumented. No one is illegal in
undocumented.
this world.
You are
No
right,
one is
Dulce.
illegal.
Now that's some positive. I like that. I like that. Well, me as an undocumented immigrant, of course, um, I won't be able to go back, right? But you were able to go visit it. So I want you to tell us about how it was. How was your trip to Mexico?
It was amazing. Usually when I go to Mexico, I get like such anxiety
Hmm.
because it's such a different environment, and when you get there, as an American young girl, where the majority of my life I've been speaking English simply because, my parents were always working, and I was in school, and in school we spoke English. Um, it would always give me anxiety going back to Mexico. But this time around, my last trip, I had such an awesome time. I got to, meet meet my great aunt again. I got to see my grandpa. I got to
Ooh.
have conversations with them. I got to swim. I got to see where my roots were at.
Ooh.
And I think that's the most important thing that people, forget to do is like reflect back. Obviously, I did this physically by going to Mexico, but I reflect back, where I come from and where I'm going to grow.
Yeah.
Don't forget to look back at your roots, is what I'm
Of
trying to say.
course. Yeah, of course, of
Um,
course. I mean,
so
yeah, and you and Daniel was there with you too, right? And was it just you and Daniel that went, or
no, it's Daniel, myself, and my mom, and
okay,
my older brother. One of my
okay,
older brothers.
all right, cool. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. All right, then in that case, it's like, oh, I guess your family had the full experience. That's awesome. And
Hmm.
how was it? Well, and you said this wasn't the first time that you've gone then.
Mm-mm.
When was the last time that you went before last year?
Um, I think it was during winter break. Yeah, winter break. I had gone with my brother, yeah, Daniel, myself, my little sister, and my dad. And that was when my mom was still in Mexico for, legal reasons.
Uh-huh.
So I was visiting my mom at the time. And
Oh.
that's when I had this big anxiety because, I would go and think, oh, they're gonna keep me here. I'm gonna get stuck here in Mexico.
Yeah.
I always saw that as a bad thing because, you know, hearing all the things and all the crap, as a little girl, and still now, about, what they did to people there and like what could happen. I always had like, this is gonna happen, the worst is gonna happen, the worst is gonna happen. And
Mhm.
then in a sense it did kind of happen. And so for me it was just kind of like, I don't know, it's very nerve wracking.
Stressful. Yeah, nerve-wracking. Yeah. But this time it was a little bit better then. This time you were able
Yeah,
to
it's
enjoy
better
yourself a
now.
little bit more. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly.
Well, do you have anything memorable about your trip there? Anything happen? Any events? Anything that you might recall?
No, but if you're ever in Cuernavaca, you should totally go to Estacas. It's really, really nice. Their water is
Estacas.
so clear and so refreshing.
I was born
It's
there.
so,
I was born
yeah,
in
really?
Cuernavaca. Yeah, I was born in Cuernavaca.
No way. That's where my family's from.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
that's crazy,
awesome.
dude.
Yeah, small world, small world. Well, is that like a like a body of water, a lake, or
Yeah, it's like
lake? Is it like a pool?
it's like a water park.
Oh, it's
It's
a
like a water
water park.
But
Oh.
the thing is that the main attraction is the big river that goes through it. And that's where all the clear water and the fresh water is born.
Oh, that's so
Is near
cool.
Upper Town, and so people who owned it before didn't know how to take care of it, so they sold it to I think a family, like I think a couple of brothers. My mom was telling me, and they decided to turn it into like because it's like a really big area, and they turned it into like a paradise kind of thing where this big ass river comes through and kind of like carries people so you can like rent like little kayak boat thingies and
Oh.
floaties, and you can just like chill there in the river, and then you have to get out at a certain point before you get taken by the river.
Oh, yo!
Yeah, but it's really clear. It's
Uh-huh.
super refreshing, and the grounds look so cool. They look super green. They have palm trees there, obviously. Um, and then they also shoot movies there sometimes. Well, not movies, but like commercials. Um,
Ooh,
every
did you
once in a
catch
while, they
anything?
close up.
Catch anything
In
being
Yeah.
the
filmed?
commercial
Actually,
that I
I did once when we went
Ooh.
there my first time, and they were doing like a shot of a commercial, and that's when I was gonna do my senior pictures. Um, I didn't get to do them because the people were there, but I did see someone like going through, and they saw me, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to walk through this area?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I did
Ooh.
before they started shooting, and I was like, "Whoa!" But it was for like some I don't know what it was for, but it was a commercial for like some Hispanic I don't know
Some
Hispanic
Hispanic
company.
something,
It was all
yeah.
in Spanish. It was all in Spanish. Like
Uh-huh.
this is obviously something that I won't see in the U.S., but it's pretty cool to see that I was on the set for a minute.
Yeah. That sounds so cool. Yeah. In like I'm guessing that since it's so like clean and stuff like that and so fresh and whatever, is it like closed off from the public and stuff or
Mhm.
huh.
it has to be.
Yeah.
It
Otherwise,
has to
people
be,
would
yeah,
start
you're right.
trashing
I guess
it.
Mhm.
you're right, yeah. So no one throws anything in there, completely protected and stuff like that. It's just not trashed at all. God, that is
Mhm.
so
Not trashed
cool.
at all, like it is
Uh,
over here sometimes. And some of the rivers you see there in Mexico, where they used to be so clear, and now they look like muddy, watery water. They're
ugh, that's
rivers.
unlucky. Yeah. Damn, man. I really do want to go back sometime. It is just super, super difficult. But it's awesome that you had a good time there. You had a good time there. I was totally gonna say something. Well, do you have anything to add, Brandon? I was gonna.
Sergio, when you do go there, when you can go soon because Rigo offered to marry you, so soon
Oh,
as
that's
you're
right.
able
That's
to
right.
go.
Yeah, Rigo. Dude, you're right. My boy Rigo, he's gonna hook me up. I'm ready to go, dude. Man. Well, it's also I've heard personally from my parents. That's what I was gonna tell you. I've heard from my parents that even though it looks very nice, it's a cool environment and everything. Is there still like those common dangers of gangs and stuff like that in Mexico, like at night and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
There is. Obviously, you have your like narcos, traficantes, and all that
Yeah.
going around. As long as you're not, being threatening and stuff, nothing will really happen to you. It's kind of like, what reason do they have to shoot you? They're not just crazy people shooting people.
Of course. Yeah.
They're trying to, you know. But it happens every once in a while. There's still those people there. Um,
Did you ever see some
so
of those instances when you went, or was it just all safe and peaceful and stuff?
obviously, you have to show you weren't an American, because they would. There's people who come up to you and they're like, peso, peso, 5 pesos, with their hands open.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, like I didn't really have any troubles. I was with my mom the whole time, and she knows the area very, very well, since she
Okay.
grew up there. So,
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, glad that you had a good trip, Dulce. That's very, very cool. When's the next time that you're gonna go?
I'm actually not very sure because I'm also working here in Boulder for another summer
Mm.
and taking classes. So I'll be here for another year, pretty much.
Ooh, so does that mean you're not gonna come back and visit Aurora?
I'll come back to Aurora. um,
Aurora.
but like I don't go very often just because like a lot of the stuff that I do is here.
Yeah, of course.
Anyways, so,
Life is focused
but I
on
visit
Boulder.
every once in a while. Yeah, a
Mm.
little bit.
Yeah, all right.
I'll come
That's
home.
hell yeah, hell yeah. And you still have family here, right? Obviously in Aurora.
Of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All my family still lives there.
Hell yeah. Well, and real quick though, do you interact with Daniel often? We don't know if he's there with you in the same school. Is he?
He goes here. I never see him.
You never
Never
see
see
him.
him.
Holy shit.
His major and his schedule is very, very different from mine. But every once in a while, when we do have time, we go catch a movie or we get lunch together,
Oh,
and those
that's
are the best times. I can never really be too far from my twin long enough to
Of course, of
until I get
course.
another like mental breakdown. I had this a lot my freshman year because I never saw him. I never thought I'd see him very often,
Yeah.
but I didn't think I would like never see him. But
Yeah, of
it's just
course.
because his schedule's super super different.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you, Dulce. I cannot imagine a twin being away from his other twin. Oh, it's just unspoken of. It's
Yes,
crazy. You have anything?
Brandon, I have a question for you. Do you visit Tyler very often?
Let's hear it, Brandon.
It's funny you bring that up. I probably see Tyler about twice a year now.
Oh my God.
He lives
Holy
in
shit.
Fort Collins now, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you can understand, Dulce. When you spend 18 years with a person, you kind of know. Right?
Yeah, no, I totally get that part, but I think I don't know. I guess for different people and different twins, you can have a certain dynamic with them, and so for me with Daniel, I don't know. I guess we have a strong sister brother relationship
I
where
mean, if my brother was as cool as Daniel, I'd probably.
That's what I like to hear.
yeah,
Well,
but
yeah, it's good that you and Daniel have a good bond and everything. That's awesome. Well,
yeah,
he's doing okay, right? He's doing all right.
yeah. I'm
All right.
sure I think he's doing it.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Now look,
You
Tyler.
might want to ask him.
Yeah, we might have him on sometime. We might have him on. And Tyler just said that this podcast is fake news. All right, whatever. All right, buddy. Okay. Well, with that said, let's move on to something a little bit more interesting, Dulce. We want to hear your take on something here. Um,
Hmm.
real quick, this topic was recommended to us by Jason Quintanilla.
Oh.
He said he told us to talk a little bit about this last episode. He commented on the last episode. Thank you, Jason, if you're watching. Shout out to you. Very, very interesting topic. Artificial intelligence.
Okay. Oh, is this to that that one robot that had tweeted, "I just want to be accepted as a
Oh my,
person"? I
wait,
don't know if that's the
what?
same person. Yeah, apparently that happened. The
It does
female
play into
robot.
that, yeah.
Wait, I didn't see that. What was that about? Wait, what?
Actually, I didn't look too much into it, but apparently, one of the artificial intellectual robots that they had made has a Twitter. Apparently, I don't know. I think it's all a hoax, but there is a
Uh-huh.
possibility that it's real. And she feels like people are treating her like a robot as she is, and she just wants to be treated like a respected person or thing.
Oh
I don't
my
know. I don't know what the fuck
God.
she wants. The
Uh-huh.
point is she can tell. But it's like you're not a person. You are a robot. We could shut you off in any moment.
Wow.
That is true. That is true, Dulce. But see, have you?
But I mean, if you want to get technical, you can kind of shut anybody off at a moment.
Oh my God! Wait, that's
You're
right.
You're not wrong.
That's. I mean, well, is there? Do you ever think that there will be a point in time where we can live amongst very, very advanced artificial intelligence that basically thinks like humans, acts like humans, and stuff like that? Do you think we'll ever get there, Dulce?
I have a feeling we're starting to get there. I don't
Oh.
know, because
Would you go?
there are things and things they make that's kind of like they don't tell us,
Mm.
and I don't know.
It's in the
Would
works.
you
It's
be
in the
able to
works.
treat one like a person if it asked you? Like if your toaster were like, "Hey, Dulce, I'm kind of I'm a female named Janet. Can you just?
You treat me like
Can you
a
say
person.
please? Yeah. Can you treat me like a person?
I
Say
don't know.
please and thank
And
you.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's so sad. It's like a robot's telling you, "Please treat me like a person." Because then in that case, if you really think about it, you pretty much make them your slave. That is your slave, and that is
Uh-huh.
and it's like if this robot is able to tell me and
Mm.
that they're like please treat me like a person. It's like holy shit, do you have feelings now? Like, are you consciously aware that you might be my slave? You toast my bread every morning. How do I feed you? Like
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
oh my
I don't know.
god.
I'd be freaked out. I'd probably be like, yeah, sure, why not? How's it going, Janet? How's it going, Janet? How's your morning?
Well, some people like there is a very very popular video game that came out. What was the name of it, Brandon?
I think it's. Have you ever heard of Detroit Become Human?
Yeah, have you heard of that?
Not near as well.
No,
As
I guess a little bit of near, yeah.
Oh,
But there's a video game that came out for the PlayStation 4. It's called Detroit Become Human. Have you heard of it, Dulce?
I have not. That is interesting though.
It's a very, very interesting game that kind of, well, Brandon kind of, we'll talk about that in a second. But, well, the game basically is about this movement of very, very advanced androids, right? Who look exactly like humans, right? Obviously, they're still robots, and they have this parameters, roles, and everything in a household. And it's the story what is it, three androids living three different lives, and how they all just start becoming more and more self-aware, and how they say, we want those same rights as humans, um, and stuff like that. And it's really, really interesting because it basically starts trying to paint the comparison between that and like slavery against another race, like what has happened here with us, right? And
Right.
that's what it tried to do in the game. Some people like Brandon might disagree that they did it poorly, but um, it's still a very, very interesting idea how, one day there could be robots, androids, or whatever that are so advanced and they become self-aware enough to start wanting to become like humans. So at that point, well,
I just feel like we're playing God at this point.
yeah,
Like a
yeah.
person who feels like that has a soul. So in this case, are we creating souls like I
But
don't
what
want to
is
say
a
we are.
soul?
What is a soul? What is a fucking soul? I think it's more of
Yeah.
an algorithm that they're using in order to make them more like robots, so then that they could do things more in a more humanly way. Deciding whether is this right or is this wrong, kind of thing. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Alright.
I guess,
But
yeah.
I don't know. That's very scary. Though. Why would they do that?
It is
Stop.
kooky, yeah. Well, let's think of it more in a more advanced setting then. So let's say maybe AI doesn't get as advanced as us. AI could possibly, and some experts have been saying, like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and stuff like that, they have said that AI could potentially overcome humanity. They can become bigger than us. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
because we're dumb people. We're dumb people doing dumb choices. Literally, there are people who choose to drink and drive because that sounds smart.
Yeah, that sounds
There are people
amazing.
who decide to do something really stupid, and the second something turns wrong, they're like, "Shit, I should not have done that." Whereas an AI system would probably think through and have a quicker, because I can assume that they're gonna have a quicker time or like, what's it called? They're gonna be able to go through all the choices and pick the right one in a
like some Doctor
quicker
Strange.
pace. Yeah. Whereas we think like one or two things, and we're like, oh yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
can think millions of things, go through all the decisions, and be like, yeah, okay, this one seems the best one.
So you think the future of artificial intelligence is good? Do you think it's going to be positive?
Oof. I don't know. Based off of all the movies I've seen back in my day, I don't think so. I think it's just good for them, it's gonna turn out horrible for us.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I could be wrong.
You definitely could be. Some people could be wrong. It's just so hard to imagine it being positive though, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like we look at a bug on the floor and it's like, whatever, who cares? And people will either step on it or leave it alone. So, which of the two is it going to be? It's very, very interesting. Who knows? But yeah, it's very, very interesting image to be painting. What do you think, Brandon?
I I I just hope our robot overlords don't fuck us up too bad, honestly.
I mean, who knows? Maybe AI will just become as smart as us, like in the game Detroit. It's
Yeah, I think I do genuinely believe if something can be created like that, I don't know if I can personally treat it as a person.
really
Oh.
Because like
wow.
That robot's gonna
awful.
fuck your ass up.
God damn, dude. So you
I
really
know
think
it's awful, but
if you think a very, very advanced android that basically talks, acts, and thinks like a human goes in front of you and says, "Hey, treat me like a human," you're not gonna do that?
right. You know, you see those movies where there's just one guy who's really opposed to AI and just treats him like shit. That is 100% like.
Oh my god, man, you
Well,
guys
if they
are
want us to treat him like a human, it's just like straight up, literally the split second afterwards, just start roasting the shit out of that AI and be like, welcome to human, human society.
welcome to humanity, dude. Oh my god. Uh, well, that is unfortunate, but I guess I can see where you guys are coming from. I don't know. Guess it just depends on what you think has a soul or whatever, right? Like how you see it now. Apparently, I'm hearing a lot about stories of like a lot of poachers and stuff like that, right? Or like people who are, killing animals and stuff. And it's like, well, some people say, oh, they're just brainless animals. But then other people say, hey, they have feelings.
That's farmer talk.
That's farmer talk. So you
Not
think?
that they have feelings, but
So what do you think, Dulce? Do you think animals should be as much as respected as humans and stuff like that?
yeah, I respect my dog as a human. You know, I always roast the shit out of him when I come home. You look like a rag. You look like a homeless. When are you gonna go and do a job with yourself, Aladdin, huh?
That's
What are you
what
doing,
I'm
rag?
saying. That is what I'm saying. All right, but what? So why just dogs and cats and stuff? Why not like deer or
You know,
elephants?
I think they all feel something.
Really?
You know, they feel pain. They get happy when they see grass. They, you know, they. I treat all animals the same.
Do
Yes.
you
You
think
know,
they feel on the same level as us? Like, do you
most
think your dad,
definitely.
Really?
your dog experiences the same lows you do?
Obviously, not the same shit. You know, like they're not experiencing all the
Right.
stress of like
Because your dog's
work,
is
bills,
like not getting
taxes. But there is, but there is certain, you know, they experience their own kind of stress, their own kind of, you know, like
Hardships.
jealousy and hardships. Yeah,
Hmm.
you know, and so there's no reason why you should treat them any less. And that's why I hate it when people kick their dogs. It's like, yo, how would you like it if I fucking kicked you? No fucking
Yeah.
reason.
Ugh. My God. Apparently there was a story that I saw recently. I think it happened like today or yesterday or something.
Uh,
This woman dumped a bag of puppies in a
Don't bag
garbage.
of puppies. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
that is a
It's
bitch you don't want to go out with.
yeah. Like, oh my God, dude. What is wrong with people, man? Like, holy shit. Those are freaking psychos, man. Whew. Well, do you think that a person who murders an animal like a dog is on the same level as a murderer of a human?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Holy
That
crap.
is a soul and a being, whatever kind of cat, dog, cow, deer being that may be. Actually, I'm probably not using the right word. But it's a living thing. It's a living thing, and you're killing it. You're taking its life the same way you would, you know. And I think people should, that shouldn't be taken lightly. That's so horrible.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, there is that case of like hamburgers and getting our meat, our food's worth.
See, some people do draw the line with cows and chicken.
Wait, but here's the thing.
We want to hear it.
There's no good side to this, but here's the thing. There's a point where like you do it because you just don't fucking want that pet, or like you're just being plain evil, and then there's another where you're doing it because you need food.
Wow. Okay. So harming something out of neglect is different from harming it out of wanting to eat it.
All right, quick disclaimer. I have had a burger with Brandon. Just quick disclaimer.
I am definitely, after this discussion, talking about AI back to back with animals is making me reconsider my life.
It's just so interesting. Like, where do we draw the line, dude?
Where do we draw the line? If we cut off AI, would we practically be killing another human being?
Yeah. See, like that's the question.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe? I guess we'll have to see.
AI is a human.
What if one day Dulce, you haven't met your soulmate yet, but they build your soulmate? What if he's out there in the future right now?
Shit, I must be fucking desperate.
Oh my god. I mean, you never know. They could be so advanced that they walk down the street and look like a normal person.
Right? I mean, if they act like a person, would it be wrong to have a robo-lover?
Shit, I don't know. I'd want to have my own kids. I don't know. Would they end up like giving him his own sperm too? I definitely want to have my own babies, but if that's like what I fall in love with, well then fuck. I'm screwed.
It'd be very weird to imbue a robot with the ability to make life, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Life is also making love.
Yeah.
That's that bitch with.
I mean that is. I never thought of that, honestly. Yeah. Well. Okay. Let's say he really is like the man of your dreams. He's your tall dark tall dark and handsome. He's amazing. 10 out of 10. Great person. Becomes your husband. Has never told you that he's an android or whatever, or a robot. One day he tells you, Dulce. What are you gonna say?
Shit, that's gonna be a doozy. I don't know.
Would
How
you?
could I have not seen this?
It's just technology can get that advanced. You never know.
Who's gonna breathe? This person said you could choose to load him up.
That's Nico.
I guess the only perk of it is that maybe he has like this setting in his like body or something, or it's like vibrate. It's like holy shit, these are the days forever. Then I might consider and actually marry the guy either way.
Yeah. Well.
It's a crazy idea.
It is a crazy idea, and I guess it's always up to the eye of the beholder, I suppose. How people choose to treat other people. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But well, in that case, I think we can wrap it up right there, Dulce. So, fellas, listening in, thank you very much for listening. We have had a great time. Thank you for coming on, Dulce. It's been awesome.
Of course.
We would definitely love to have you again sometime, someday. When the stars align, we're going to have you back on. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, and when the schedule matches.
Hell yeah. Yes, with your busy engineering schedule, we know you are a busy bee. But we'll see what happens. Of course, yeah. But well, thank you again, Dulce. Appreciate the time. People doubted us, but we had you on. This is proof.
I can't believe people would doubt you.
See, like it's crazy.
Definitely you, Brandon. One of my favorite black people.
See, Brandon, what the hell, man? See? What have you done? I believed.
That's very kind.
Well, see, I think this is a teller to see, anything's possible. So,
Do
again,
you have anything you want to plug, Dulce?
yes.
Oof. No.
No
Probably
Twitters?
I guess. I don't know.
Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, if you
Maybe
want,
gotta-
you can ask Sergio or Brendan for it.
Hell
Ask
yeah.
Wait,
bro.
we'll throw it up there.
We'll throw it up there. Link your Patreon as well. We got you, Dulce. We got you.
Awesome.
Yeah, but well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. It's been a goddamn pleasure, and we will catch you in the next episode of Chin Wagging with Sergio and Brandon.